It sounds like it. Yeah.
We're live. Let me just turn it down on this one.
Mine can't. Is that tough? Yeah.
A second. All right, Shalom. This is the Wednesday law class. Also, remember, check out Commanding Gen.YAHANNA's radio show Monday night. That's 2 a.m. UK time. Also, this class is Monday through Friday, or Tuesday through Friday. Tuesday, you got the Brotherhood class in the States. That's 12 a.m. our time. Wednesday, the law class. Thursday, scripture breakdown. Friday, the Lashon Kodash, which is the Hebrew tongue. Here in the UK, we have the history class on Monday, the law class on Wednesday, the scripture breakdown on Thursday. Any black or Hispanic, any Israelite born is welcome to attend the classes in person. You're welcome to attend the classes, Lodge Road, Hockley, come on down. Also, we got Purim coming up. Also, coming down to that, man, February. Coming down to that, we're going to have the food and everything. Also, Passover, we're in the final stages, getting ready to book. We've left it a bit late, but we're getting ready to book. We just left it a bit late because we've been tiring waiting for everyone. So we're almost ready to book. We're running out of time on that. The longer you leave it, the more the flights will be. So if we could all get that done, we could all, have it booked and then all be on the same flight in April and so forth. And today we're going to go into a few scriptures. We're going to go into a few scriptures on how we were supposed to be, what the Lord made us to be, and how we are now, and how things have changed, man. How we've gone from being royal and all of this goodness to what? Drug dealers now. I mean, we went from priest. We went from being a priest to now just being a drug dealer. We went from being our sisters went from being beautiful sisters to now just being horse swinging off a pole. Like, we've come down low, man. If you read the Bible and see how we was before, and you see how we are now, you'll realize that we've came down a long way, man.
That's right.
We've came down such a long way. Where we was before and where we are now, it's crazy, man. One day we was a kingdom of kings and priests, man. We was priests and we was righteous, man. We was ruling the earth, and then now, guess what? We're in England, man, the scum of the earth now. We're in Brazil, the scum of the earth. We're in America, the scum of the earth. Everywhere we are now, people look at us like we're the scum of the earth. You know why? Because we broke God's commandments, man. So we came down low. We went from being royalty, went from all these nations honoring us, man, us having them in check, to now them having us in check. We went from standing for the laws of the Lord to now just breaking the laws of the Lord, man. We went from being sober to now we're just drug addicts and criminals and everything, man. We had a conscience before. Now we ain't even got a conscience, man, because we've been doing evil for so long. So yeah, that's what we're going to go into. We're going to go into a few scriptures and that. If you could say, give me a Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 5. Deuteronomy 4 and 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments.
And here it says the Lord taught us statutes and judgments. The Lord taught us his laws, man. The Lord taught us, listen, if someone does this, this is what you do. This is how you deal with it. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. He taught us laws and statutes and judgments, man. He taught us laws, statutes, and judgments for breaking his laws and whatnot, man. We was taught all of these things. Guess what? You ask someone today, obviously they don't know them. Go ahead.
Statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me that ye should do so.
And this is Moses talking. So Moses is saying, I've taught you these commandments, and the Lord saying, even you meant to do them. Go ahead.
That ye should do so in the land, whether ye go to possess it.
And this is when the Lord gave them a land, and the Lord wanted them to be righteous in there, man. Keep all his laws, statutes, and commandments. Do the right thing. Not eat pork. Not murder your brother. Not sell drugs. The Lord didn't put them in this land for them to sell drugs, man. The Lord didn't put them in this land for them to open up brothels and whorehouses. The Lord didn't put them in this land for them to have all these Roman orgy parties and everything else that people do today. The Lord didn't put them in this land for them to set up strip clubs and Mayweather setting up a strip club and all of these things, talking about Mayweather promotions and got all his sisters stripping, swinging from poles, man. The Lord didn't give us the Lord didn't give us the land for us to do that, man. Go ahead.
Verse 6, keep therefore and do them.
And the Lord said, keep therefore and do them. So the Lord gave us the land back then. I said, you know what? I've taught you laws, statutes, and commandments. The Lord taught us everything, man, from how to harvest, from how to do everything, man. What the Lord taught us, we didn't need no help from no other nation, man. The Lord gave us it firsthand.
That's right.
How to live, how to harvest, how to deal with one another. He gave us his laws, statutes, and his judgments. So he gave us our own governments and so forth, our own people to rule over the land, our own priests and so forth, who you go to, our own counselors. The Lord gave us all of that. We didn't need the heathen for nothing, man. Go ahead.
For this is your wisdom and your understanding.
And it says, this is your wisdom. So, this is our wisdom, meaning these things is wise, man. The things that the Lord gave you would make you wise. These other nations see, these people here, they've got laws on washing, man. We had laws on washing, laws on cleaning yourself. Whereas these other nations didn't have laws on cleaning themselves. This is why white men lived in a cave and used to pick lice off each other's back and eat it and all of those kind of things, man. You can check it up if you think I'm lying. They wasn't given laws on cleanliness, but the Lord gave us these laws, and these things was our wisdom in the sight of the other nations, man. The other nations would see us and be like, they take baths over there, man. They're clean over there. They watch what they eat over there. They don't just eat anything they see. They don't just eat pork, shrimp. No, I mean, they don't eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. And they're meant to look at you and be like, oh, we wonder why they don't do these things. And then you're meant to say, because the Lord gave us laws, statutes, and commandments, man. They're meant to look and be like, oh, these are wise people. Their God's dealing with them. Their God's give them orders and they're following them. These like don't kill, they're meant to see you and be like, oh, these like don't kill each other over a grievance. What they do is they go to he and thee alone, man. They go and sort out their issues. We're meant to be a wise nation. But obviously now, any grievances, what do? Go get the gun out, go get the knife, and sort it that way, man. When the Lord gave us statutes and judgments and told us to keep them, and we're in this condition that we're in right now, because obviously we didn't keep them. So every time you read the Bible and you think, oh, that sounds good, guess what? That was us at one stage, man. But we became so low because obviously we disobeyed God. Go ahead.
Your understanding in the sight of the nations.
This is what we are understanding, man, in the sight of the nations. Go ahead.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, only.
And they're meant to hear all these statutes. They're meant to hear all your laws. Because remember, they ain't got laws, so once they hear it, it's something new to them. They're going to hear, oh, they don't eat pork. They don't get tattoos. They don't worship the sun. They don't worship the moon. They're not Muslim. They're not following Islam. They're not following Christianity. They're gonna hear all these things, man. Meanwhile, they're worshiping idols. They're gonna hear that we don't worship idols. And we're gonna say we don't worship things made with the hands, man. We're gonna say we serve the living God. That's what we're meant to say. But what do we do now? We just go and worship a stone right with them, man. We just go to church right with them. When they was meant to see our wisdom, and them seeing our wisdom would show them how dumb they truly are, man. But obviously, we just go and follow them. And go ahead.
Surely, this great nation is a wise.
And it's to say, surely, this great nation. That part's key, man. The Lord made us to be a great nation. Like everything you do is supposed to be great. You're supposed to be better than every other nation on the face of the earth. You're meant to be wiser than them, live better than them, do things better than them. The Lord gave us everything we needed, man. Law, statutes, and commandments. But guess what? We've gone and done. Gone and threw those behind us, man. I said, you know what? Damn that. We're gonna do what we want to do. The Lord gave us these things, man. So the Lord can so we can be in the sight of the nations, and they can sit and be like, this is a wise people. It's like if you've got a child now, and every other child is doing whatever they want, and your child's well behaved. You want to show off your child, man. Like, look at my child, man. I can tell him stand there, and he stands there. And people will be like, that's a smart child there. Whereas all the other childs are throwing their toys out the pram, screaming, crying, whatnot. And then you got that one child that's a good child, and the parents can be like, oh, that's my child there. He's disciplined. And then all them parents are going to be like, she's got a good child, man. That's a wise child. That was meant to be us. We meant to be the wise child on the face of this earth. But instead, we've just wanted to be like everybody else. We didn't want this wisdom in the sight of the nations. We didn't want everybody to see us as a great nation. Go ahead.
A nation so wise, and
it says a nation so wise, not just wise, a nation so wise, meaning these other nations are meant to see us and be like, this nation is so wise. Go ahead, sir.
And understanding people.
And it says they're meant to say this is a wise and understanding people. Whereas all these other nations is doing whatever they want, having sex with whatever they want, who they want. This nation right here is meant to be a wise nation that's going to be like, we don't just have sex with any and anybody, man. Go ahead.
And off the back of that, I've got two references of this, like people that went to Afghanistan, and they've told me the Afghans sleep with donkeys and like cows and that. And you know, like one person said to me, and at my slavery a few days ago, one guy who fought in the Afghan war, and he said, it goes, yeah, they all do it, like it's nothing that no one would not see. It's very like natural.
Yeah, over there it's the norm. Oh, them kind of countries there, they have sex with animals, and it's normal, man. You see videos them with cows, and this Indian man got arrested for whatnot. Like most women that go to India, is it Delhi where they're always getting raped? They're always getting raped and killed and whatnot. That's how them other nations was. We meant to be a wise nation where anybody in our land ain't no sisters getting raped, man, because we are wise people. Ain't nobody getting robbed and murdered because we are wise people. We're meant to be a great nation, not robbing people for their jewelry, not shooting and killing one another. We're meant to be a wise people, man. A wise people don't murder their brothers. A wise people don't rob their brothers. A wise people don't whore out their sisters. But a people that's unwise, that's what they do, man. These other nations are meant to be the unwise ones, but it seems like nowadays we've become more unwise than them, man. Seems like we've become more, uncivilized than them, man.
That's right.
When you check the murder rate over here with the minority, but the murder rate with the majority, man. How does that make sense that over here with the minority, but when you look up the knife crime with the majority, when you look with the minority, but when you look up the jail system with the majority, you know why? Because we've left this wisdom that the Lord gave us. We've left this wisdom that the Lord gave us. Go ahead, sir.
For what Asian is there so great?
And you should say, and what nation is there so great? Imagine one time it was a great nation. This is what the other nations is meant to say, that we're a great nation. What do they say about us now? Look at these criminals, man. You walk across the road, people lock their car doors. People see you, they clutch their handbags. Now, there's a stereotype around us. We're meant to be a great nation. Listen, every black man, these other nations see there's a stereotype about us, man. Listen, where I work, every time a black man comes in, they call him out on the radio, man. Even if he's shopping, even if he's just in a suit like them, they watch him. We're meant to be a great nation, but guess what? Now we've become a stereotype. The stereotype is, these people rob you. These people all carry knives. That's the stereotype. The stereotype is 3 or 4 and 5 black males carry knives, man. We're meant to be a great nation. The stereotype is that sister right there's got 3 baby fathers, man. All them kids got different daddies. Now we're meant to be a great nation, but look at us now. We are a proverb and a byword, like the Bible said, and we fit all the stereotypes that attached to us, man. Even if you're a black man that's not doing nothing wrong, you're a black man not doing nothing wrong, they still look at you like you're a criminal. Police still see you and want to pull you over because you're black. Also, I've realized if there's a black man with and also another thing, if you're a black man with a decent amount of money or whatnot, first thing people say is, oh, he's a drug dealer. But when you see a white man with a little bit of money, what do they say? Oh, he's a businessman. He runs businesses. So what, you mean to tell me black people can't run businesses as well? But nah, man, they don't say that about us. They say, oh, he's a drug dealer. Go ahead, sir.
Now, there was actually a documentary, and there was a white man who dresses like all nice, tie and suits, and his job is to rob shops.
See.
And he does it openly. What it is, because he comes in like his suit and tie, people don't assume he's a thief, and he literally walk in the shop. He'll basically remove the tags that the alarm don't go off, and he walks out the shop with like the flat screen. And because of how he's dressed, people assume that he's a manager there and he's taking something.
See.
And it's his job. He's a professional thief. That is the word that he used. And
See, exactly. Which lets you know, man, white people get away with murder. Look, we're working. We got a book of all the thieves and the criminals in there. And guess what? Most of them are white. Most of them are white. I look through that book once a week. And most of them are white. Black people are the minority in the book, man. Not even that much in the book. But they're the same ones who get followed around. The cameras around town, from you jump off the bus, they're following you around, man. Most people don't even know this. But from you jump off the bus, they got cameras following you, describing what you're wearing, describing where you're going. And they follow you around town, man. And this is why all these young kids which is in towns committing criminal activities. Listen, them cameras is clear, man. I see them every day. Them cameras is clear. They see everything you're doing. Listen, some of them is so good. They zoom into your phone while you're sending a text message, man. I've been in the room and the guy on the camera is zooming in while you're sending it, and they can see everything clearly, man. So listen, and they follow black people around for the majority of the day. And we the minority in the book. When you look through that book, it's all white men that smoke mamba, that are on drugs, that smoke heroin. And they get to listen. You have a crackhead that comes into the store, a white man. Instead of watching him, they'd rather watch a young black man that looks well dressed and whatnot. Because obviously we fit the stereotype, and we're no longer this great nation which the Lord called us to be. Go ahead, sir.
It's so great who have God so nigh unto them,
and that's what these other nations is meant to say. See when they see you. A nation that has a power so close to them, man. That has a power so close to them. You see, like when you see a child and they have a father, and obviously this child's in check because their father's around and so forth. These other nations are supposed to look at them and be like, yo, they're God's with them, man. They do everything he says. They obey his voice. They listen to him. And their God walks with them. And they would never try and lay a finger on you, man. If we was this great nation, white man wouldn't be able to shoot us down in the streets like he does.
Right.
You know why? Because the Bible says a nation that has a God so nigh unto them, that has a God so close unto them, man. But obviously, we turned our back on God and walked the opposite way. The Lord told us this, like, do this. We done the opposite. It's like your father tells you to do something, and obviously you don't do it. Obviously, your father's going to punish you, man. We've been punished for not listening, for not doing the right things. Go ahead, sir.
So nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for.
It says that the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for, man. Meaning, everything we need from God, God would give us, man. God would give us, man. But guess what? We've turned our back on God, and obviously we're still asking for things. How you turn your back on God and you're still asking for things, man? Listen, obey God if you want to go back to being on top. It's that simple. Ain't hard. Is there anyone that?
Yeah, verse 8 as well.
Yeah, carry.
Verse 8. And what Asian is there so great that have statutes and judgments.
He says, what nation is there that's so great that have statutes and judgments? Like we said, these other nations, they didn't have no laws, man. These other nations, anything goes. With these other nations, anything goes, man. They could do whatever they wanted. But we had statutes and judgments. The Lord put limits and bounds on us to what we could do. Because the Lord said, you know what? I don't want you being like these other nations. The Lord told us what? Don't get no tattoos. So what did we start doing? Tattooing teardrops on our face, man. Got teardrops tattooed on our face. The Lord told us, don't get no tattoos. What? We start tattooing a big cross on our back now. Listen, most of these people with that big cross tattoo ain't even Christian anyway, man. Ain't even Christian anyway. Obviously, well, it is. They're just following the heathens and getting all these tattoos and so forth, man. That was never our culture, never our customs. It was never meant to do that. Go ahead.
So righteous as all this law.
And they're meant to say, yo, which other nations got judgment so righteous as all this law? Now they're meant to see us. While these other nations is out there having sex with cows, they're meant to see that we are people that say, that's disgusting, man. You shouldn't be having sex with no damn cow. We're meant to make them look stupid. We're meant to make them look silly, man. The Lord gave us this as our wisdom in the sight of the nations. All this law is to make us wise and keep us close to God and make us live right and cause us not to offend our brothers and not to break God's laws, man. That's what the Lord gave us this for. The Lord just didn't give us this just to read it and just disregard it. He gave us this to keep it and live by it. He gave us a code of conduct and we're meant to live by it. Go ahead, sir.
All this law which I set before you this day.
And the Lord set it before us that day, man. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. The Lord gave us all that law, man. And he said, keep it and meditate on it and teach it. Go ahead.
Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed.
My people are what?
Are destroyed.
The Lord said, my people are destroyed, man. You know how we're destroyed? Because we was meant to be a great nation. And guess what? We went from being kings and priests to drug dealers now. We went from being kings and priests to Al Pacino, man. We went from being a priest to Pablo Escobar. We went from being a priest to what's that murderer's name now? Murdered by the fire. I can't remember what his name was. I don't remember what his name was, but we went from being a priest to murderers, man. We went from loving our kids to aborting them now. Go ahead, you gonna say something?
I'll say that with the film Scarface, and like really it was made to show people the reality of drugs and to make them stop. But we took it the wrong way and adopted it as a lifestyle. Like any big drug dealer, what's their best film? Scarface. When really the director, his intention was to show people, look what drugs do, people die. But we took it the wrong way.
And we took it the wrong way. Now everybody wants to be Tony Montana now. Everybody wants to be him now. Sniffing cocaine in their office and all the guns and whatnot. So we went from being a great people to now sniffing cocaine at the desk, man. We went from being a great people to just stabbing our brothers on the streets of London. The Bible says we're destroyed, and we're definitely destroyed. We fell a long way, man. We fell a long way, man. We from being on top to coming down so low. Go ahead, sir.
Are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
And we destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Like we ain't even got no knowledge of how great we was before. We ain't got no knowledge of before we was a IC3, what they call us. Before we was just an IC3, we was great, man. Before we was just some good for nothing deadbeat. We was great, man. But we've got no knowledge of how great we was. So since we've been here, we've been taught with nothing. We've been told with nothing. So obviously, if you've been taught your whole life that you're nothing, what are you going to be? You're just going to be nothing. Your kids are going to be nothing. But if you knew how great you was at a time and knowing the ways to get back to being that great, you'd change your life, man. But in church, they don't ever teach you how great you was. They don't ever teach you that you was meant to be a wise nation. They don't ever teach you that God loved you. They don't teach you that. They just teach you to go there, sing, dance. That's all they teach you to do, is go there and sing and dance, man. So you'll be there every Sunday for 3-4 hours and you don't learn nothing. Go ahead.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge.
When it says we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because we reject knowledge. Now, when we bringing this out, trying to tell people how great they are and who they was before and they're a Hebrew Israelite, they want to reject this knowledge. They don't care. They just want to know, this ain't making me no money, so I don't care, man. All our people care about now is making money. If it ain't making money, they ain't got time for it. And the thing is, when they talk about making money, they ain't even making money. you look on the scale of money they're making. They're not even making a lot of money, man. Even these black drug dealers, they ain't making money. Listen, over here in the UK, the East Indians and the white men, they making the money. They've been making like what, 1.2 million and 500K. And the black drug dealers down here probably just what, a little bit better off than minimum wage. That's it, man. And then when they get caught, they go to jail for like what, 7 years, and work in jail for £2.50 a day. Whereas while you had your freedom, why wouldn't you just work? Why wouldn't you just work a normal job and still have your freedom instead of going to jail to work for £2.50 a day, man? It doesn't make no sense. Why not be out here, have your freedom, just work during the day and be able to go home to your family and whatnot, instead of having to go jail, sitting in a cell for 7 years, working for £2.50 for a whole day. So you mean to tell me when you're not in jail, you're saying working for £8 an hour? I'm not working for £8 an hour. That's rubbish. That's peanuts. But then you go to jail and you work for £2.50 for the whole day. It doesn't make no sense, man. Go ahead, sir.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
It says, because thou hast rejected knowledge, we reject knowledge and we turned our back on the Lord. So what do you think the Lord's going to do? Keep calling us. The Lord turned his back on us for a time, man. Because we turned our back on him. But guess what? The Lord's calling us home now. Now, it's up to you what you want to do. Do you want to return? Or do you want to continue living the sinful lifestyle that you're living? Which ain't going to get you far. It's not going to get you far. Go ahead.
Reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest.
That thou shalt what?
Be no priest.
And the Lord rejected us, that we shall be no priest, man, because we rejected knowledge. So guess what? You're no longer a priest now. So now you're a what? You're a drug dealer. You're a criminal. You're a murderer. You're a thief. We become everything disgusting, man. When we was a priest, but because we rejected knowledge, the Lord rejected us as being priests. And this is why we're not a priest no more, man. This is why we become everything filthy and disgusting. But the Lord's calling you back, man, to make you a priest again, to take you up out of the dirt and clean you up, man. It's not hard. Obviously, just get in classes, coming down to the school, and we'll show you how, man. Go ahead, sir.
Unto me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God.
See what?
Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God.
And we've forgotten the law. You know why we forgot the law? Because the verse up, it says we rejected knowledge, man.
That's right.
So once you reject something, obviously you don't want to know. So how are you meant to know the law if you're rejecting it? People's trying to teach you the law and you're rejecting the law. So obviously you're not going to know it. And then this is why the Lord said, all right, then I'll reject you. So because we don't know the law, what do? We break it. Now we want to be Tony Montana, man. The law which the Lord gave us to make us wise, we rejected it. Which means what? Now we're not wise. Now we don't know how to be wise. And listen, we fell a long way, man. One day, imagine one day, you're a priest, man. One day you're a prince. You're living good. The Lord's with you. Life's good, man. Imagine that one day, and the next day you're just a drug dealer, man. You're just taking drugs, sitting on the park bench, in England in the freezing cold, so forth. Go ahead.
I've got a question on lines up.
Yeah, I have to finish this one again. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want now?
Just finish off with that and then we'll get it.
In the middle of Hosea 4 and 6 seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God.
Seeing as thou hast forgotten the law, man. We forgot the law. So we was rejected because we forgot the law. So what does that mean? That means we need to learn the law, man, in order to come back. Go ahead.
I will also forget thy children as they increase, so they sinned against me.
Listen, man, we sinned against the Lord, man. You can get the question now if you want.
I've got a little bit more 7.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Therefore, I will change their glory.
I will change their what?
I will change their glory.
You know what your glory was? Being a priest of the Lord, man. Your glory was you knowing how to raise your family, you having all the understanding, you knowing what to eat, what not to eat. You was glorious, man. You having all these beautiful garments, knowing your culture, knowing who you are, knowing where you're going, man, knowing you're to rule this earth. That was your glory, man. The Lord gave us our wisdom and glory and everything in the sight of the nations. That's what we had. Go ahead.
Into shame.
Into what?
Into shame.
So you left all of that to pick up being a criminal, pick up being a drug dealer, a murderer, everything else, going to jail. Your glory is turned into shame, man. And now it's a shameful, like when you look at us as a nation, it's a shameful thing to see what we've become. All that glory has been turned into shame. People look at us and shake their head, man, like, damn, these people can't get it together. Damn, these people can't even stay in relationships for longer than a week and so forth. Like now with us, like with us as a nation, being a single parent is just a normal thing. Like now it's just a normal thing. It's just like, oh yeah, it's normal. Whereas other nations like these East Indians, they say you bring shame on the family, man. Listen, they would rather stay together because they see that it's so shameful for them to not be together, for this woman to try and leave one man to get with the next man and so forth. They see that as a shameful thing. But with us, it's just the norm, man. Like, oh, I'm gonna drop this one to his dad's. This one's dad don't look after him. This one's dad's in jail. For us, it's just the norm now, man. Because our glory's been turned into shame. Our glory's been turned into shame, man. Everybody else on the face of the earth, yeah, can make a relationship last, but except us, man. Look at us. Oh, listen, when's the last time you've heard the Arab man say, yo, that's my baby mother? Listen, you don't hear that, man. When do you hear the Chinese man say, yeah, that's my baby? Listen, only we say that, you know why? Because our glory has been turned into shame, and obviously we left off the laws, statutes, and commandments. If we was following these laws, statutes, and commandments, we would know that there's no such thing as divorce, man.
Right.
Which means we would stay together as a family. But because we've left the laws, guess what? Oh, she's just a baby mom that does my head in, man. Like my 3 baby moms have put me on child support, man. Nah, I'm not with none of them now, man, because blah 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 blah. Our glory's turned into shame, man. People look at us and be like, oh, you why don't you black men look after your kids? Look at us like, why don't you black men look after your kids? When people talk about deadbeat fathers, really, the white man's a deadbeat father, but no one ain't thinking about him when they use that line, man. You listen to that song, I Don't Want No Scrub by, is it TLC? TLC. By TLC. Listen, subconsciously, a black man pops in your head when you're singing that song, man. Right. A black man's in your head when you're singing that song. You ain't thinking of no white man when you sing that song. Because we are people whose glory has been turned into shame, man. Our glory has been turned into shame. Go ahead, sir.
The question is in Deuteronomy 10 and the 12th verse to the 15th verse. Deuteronomy 10 and 12. And now, Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee? Meaning now, it's now the Lord saying, what does the Lord want of us? Now he's going to let you know, like, what does the Lord require of us? It's like when you go to work and your manager says, oh, this is what I require of you to do by the end of the day. This is what the Lord requires of us. Go ahead. Of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God. It says to fear the Lord thy God, man. The Bible says the beginning of wisdom is to fear the Lord, man. Meaning what? Something like if you fear God, you're not going to break his laws because you know you don't play no games, and it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the Most High. That's right. So if you fear him,
you're not going to break his laws, man. You've heard the same people say, what, fear is stronger than love. Listen, if you fear God, you're not going to break his laws because you know there's repercussions. So that's step one. First of all, fear God, man. And every time you even think about breaking his laws, just understand that he don't play no games. He ain't nothing to mess around with. Same like you fear your boss because you know he's going to give you the sack. So you're a good slave at work. Listen, just do as the Lord says, man. Fear God. Go ahead.
To walk in all his ways.
And you fear God and walk in all his ways. Now, what's his ways? His laws, statutes, and commandments. You see how righteous the Lord is. The Bible says the Lord made man in his image, meaning what? According to his laws, statutes, and commandments, man. The same stuff he would do, he wants you to do down here, man. Go ahead.
And to love him.
And to love him, man. And how do you love God? By keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. So step one is you fear God. So because you're scared, because you fear him, you're not gonna break his laws. And then if you love him, you're not gonna break his laws also. So you don't hurt who you love, man. So if you love God, you're not gonna break his commandments, because to keep God's commandments is to love him, man. That's how you show your love. You see how people show they love you is by doing right by you. You show you love God by doing right by him. You don't like, you love your kids, yeah. You love your kids, so you don't not feed them for days, lock them in the closet like you see on the news, kill them, whatnot. You don't do that to your kids because obviously you love them, so you feed them, nurture them, raise them. Listen, the Lord wants you to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, man. That's how you love him. Love ain't a thing where you just say, oh yeah, God, I love you. I prayed 5 times today. I picked up my Bible. I kissed my Bible today. I love you, God. Love's not that. Love is not eating pork. Love is not sleeping with whores, man. Love is not interracial marriage. That's how you love God. Them things there. Go ahead.
And to serve the Lord thy God.
And to serve the Lord, man. That's how you love God, by serving him, man. By doing as he says, not serving Allah, not serving Buddha, not serving the Christian church, Jehovah's Witness, Lisa, what's her name? Lisa Smith, the Seventh-day Adventist one. What's her name again?
Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah, what's her name again? It's gonna bug me now.
Oh, I'll look at it.
Yeah, not serving what's her name now? Was it what was her name now? Lisa Smith or something? Not Lisa Smith.
Nah, it's not.
Something, was it something Smith?
Nah. Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah. What was her name now? When I see it, I'm gonna be, oh yeah, that was it. What was her name again? I can't remember what her name was. What was her name now? What was her name? Was it Ellen White?
That sounds.
Ellen G. White.
That sounds.
Is it? I'm sure it was Ellen G. White. Is it?
That sounds better. Yeah.
Or Ellen D. Smith or something.
I believe it's Ellen G. White. Yeah.
Ellen G. White. I thought so. That's her name. Ellen. Yeah. Serving Ellen G. White. Talking about I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, which religion was founded by a white woman and so forth. Yeah, man. Listen, the Lord don't want you to serve none of that. The Lord wants you to serve him and him only. The Lord wants you to serve him and him only, man. He don't want you going to Mecca, talking about you throwing rocks at the pillars, serving Islam, talking about, I need to go stick my head in the stone, asking everyone, can you put a donation so I can get a flight to do Hajj and the 5th pilgrimage and blah, 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 all that nonsense. Listen, the Lord don't want you to do none of that, man. The Lord just wants you to fear him and love him and keep his commandments. Go ahead.
With all thy heart and with all thy soul.
With all thy heart and with all thy soul, man, meaning with everything, man. With everything, the Lord wants you to keep his law, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead.
Verse 13, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
And for what?
For thy good.
The Lord told you, keep his commandments for thy good. Guess what? We didn't keep them. Where are we now? Number 1 in prison. number one in the hospitals, number one in that. We didn't keep them, so we eat pork. What are we? Number one in the high blood pressure, number one in diabetes, number one in the high cholesterol, number one in everything, man. The Lord told us to keep these for thy good. Obviously, we didn't keep them if we're suffering from all these things. If we're dying, obviously we didn't keep them, man. The Lord said these is for our good. But like the Bible says, we reject knowledge. So we rejected these laws. So guess what? Maybe a few more of us have to get diabetes, man. Maybe a few more of us have to get high blood pressure because we rejected knowledge. Go ahead, sir.
Behold, the heaven and the heavens of heavens is the Lord's, thy God. The earth also with all that is therein.
And the Lord saying, listen, everything's his, man. The Lord saying, listen, everything's created by me. Everything's mine. He runs everything. Go ahead.
Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers.
And the Lord had a delight in our fathers. The Lord had a delight in Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man, our fathers. The Lord had a delight in them. And guess what? They obeyed the Lord. Abraham obeyed the Lord so much that he was about to sacrifice his son, man. Abraham obeyed God that much, man, that he took him and tied him to the thing and was about to stab him, man, with the, what's it called? He was about to kill him, man. He obeyed God that much. Abraham obeyed God that much that he left his land. He left his land and went to a next land. And the Lord had the delight in our fathers because they feared him. They obeyed him. They kept his laws, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead.
Of them, and he chose their seed after them.
And because the Lord had the delight in our fathers, and because they obeyed him, the Lord said, you know what? These are my people, man. I'm going to choose their seed after them. Who's the seed that came after them? Us. The Lord chose us. Listen to this. Our fathers obeyed God. So the Lord chose them and their seed that came after them. So imagine the reputation of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they're thinking, all right, then, we've done right by God. And our children are going to be, God's going to love them also. So the seed that came after Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who obeyed God, the seed that came after them, decide they want to disobey God, man. These men were righteous. The Lord had the delight in them because they obeyed him. And then the seed that came after just want to be drug dealers, man. Just want to disregard what Abraham stood for, disregard what Isaac and Jacob stood for, want to be murderers, want to hate their brother, want to do all manner of evil. It don't make no sense, man. We need to get back to being like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. So the Lord can have a delight in us and bring us home, man. Stop us from being in England, getting the flu every other week, man. Talking about it's going to snow heavy tomorrow. Go ahead.
Even you above all people,
and the Lord,
as it is this day.
And the Lord set us above all people, man. What does that mean? That means you're higher than them. That means you're better than them. Now, if I put something above, obviously there's something beneath. You know who's meant to be beneath? The white men.
That's right.
The Arabs,
right.
The Chinese,
that's right.
The East Indians. But guess what? We've come beneath them, man. We're meant to be above them. All these corner shops are supposed to be our shops, man. You see all these corner shops where they watch you, where they have that big mirror, where they watch you in the mirror. Have you seen it? Where they have that big circular mirror hanging down.
Yeah.
So where they watch you in the mirror. Listen, all these things are supposed to be our shops, man. We're supposed to be looking at them like they're the criminals. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, kind of. She said the water for the breakdown.
No, sir. We meant to be looking at them like they're the criminals. The Lord put us above everybody, man. But we rejected knowledge. We rejected the very thing that made us wise. We rejected the very thing that was going to keep us at the top. So now, we just selling drugs in alleyways now, man. Drinking Frosty Jack on the bench. Just doing all manner of evil, man. From there, give me Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 2. And listen, if you only drink Frosty Jack, it's not a sin, but obviously don't be drinking it on the park bench. just don't be drinking it on the park bench.
But Isaiah 1 and 2. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and
So the Lord said, "Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth." This for the Lord have spoken, man. The Lord said He's nourished and brought up children. What does it mean to nourish? It means to take care of, man. What does brought up mean? To raise. The Lord said, "I've took care and I've raised these children, man. I've gave them everything they needed. I've showed them how to live, how to do things right." The Lord said, "I've nourished and I've brought up children." Go ahead.
And they rebelled against me.
And the what?
They rebelled against me.
So the Lord said, "I did nothing but loved you and took care of you, man. And you rebelled against me." What's a rebel? Someone who does the opposite to what they're supposed to do, man. We rebelled against God, man. The Lord nourished us, brought us up, gave us laws, statutes, and commandments, gave us a land that flows with milk and honey, man. Gave us a land where we didn't need for nothing. Gave us the best crops, best everything, man. The best soil. Gave us the best of everything where things would grow. Gave us the best animals. Gave us the best of everything, man. Gave us everything we needed. We rebelled against Him, man. Imagine that. That's like your father gets you everything, and then you just go do the opposite. That's what we did to God. We rebelled against Him. The Lord didn't ask for much, just for us to fear and love Him, man, and keep His commandments and walk in His ways. It's not a lot. That's all He asked for, man. But we didn't want to do that. We rebelled against Him after He raised us and nourished us. Go ahead.
Verse 3: The ox knoweth his owner.
It says the ox knoweth his owner, man. An ox is a dumb animal, man. An ox knows his owner, man. This is an animal. Now, an ox knows who it belongs to. An ox knows where it's meant to go, who feeds it, who takes care of it. An ox knows its owner, man. Go ahead.
And the ass his master's crib.
And it says, and the ass is master's crib, meaning a donkey. Knows where he's meant to stay. A donkey knows his master's crib, man. A donkey ain't gonna go to if it don't know you. But this is a dumb animal that knows its master, man. That knows who it belongs to. But we don't know our Father, man, our God who nourished us and raised us, man.
That's right.
What these animals do. So we left off our wisdom to become dumber than these animals now. Because if I ask one black man, yo, so who's your God? One man's gonna tell me Selassie. One man's gonna tell me Jarastafari. Another man's gonna tell me Allah. Another man's gonna tell me Buddha. Another man's gonna tell me something else, man. Another man's gonna tell me white Jesus. Another man's gonna tell me Ellen G. White. Another man's gonna tell me his pastor. Listen, we don't know who we belong to, but an ox knows his master, and a donkey knows his master's crib, man. They know who they belong to. But us, as people who's meant to be the greatest and wisest people on the planet, we don't know who we belong to.
That's right.
Because we rejected knowledge, man, like it said in the book of Hosea. Go ahead.
But Israel doeth not know.
It says, but what?
But Israel doeth not know.
And guess what? We don't know our owner. We don't know who we belong to. We don't know our master's crib. But these animals do. And Israel, who's meant to be a wise nation, we don't know who we belong to. And this is where you ask 10 black men, yo, what's your nationality? You get 10 different answers, man. You get 10 or 15 different answers. Go ahead.
My people doeth not consider.
And we don't even consider, man. Listen, we don't care, man. We just want to get by, do whatever we want. We don't care who we belong to. We don't care that we in slavery in a land that ain't ours. We just get on with it. We don't care that, oh, one time we wasn't slaves. We don't even consider. We just see it as, well, I'm a slave. Let me just stay in this position. Let me just stay in this position and, I'm going to die one day and let me just enjoy life. That's what we do, man. We don't even consider. Whereas these animals, the donkey and the ox, they know their master's crib, man. You try kidnap a donkey, that donkey's going to act up, man, if that donkey don't belong to you. Black men is in a land that have been kidnapped and they ain't acting up one bit. They consider this home. You know why? Because they don't know their master's crib. They don't know their master's crib. They don't know who they belong to. We go to anybody. We go to anybody, man. We go to white Jesus. We go to Ellen G. White. We go to Allah. We go to church. Because we don't know our master's crib.
Right.
We don't know who we belong to. Go ahead.
Verse 4, a sinful nation.
And listen, we don't know our master. And we've become a sinful nation. A sinful nation, man. What's sin? Transgression of the law, man.
Right.
We transgress the law any chance we get. We look for ways to find the loophole in the law, man. We look for ways to find a nice little loophole so we can transgress it. And listen, the Lord said a nation of a sinful nation. Go ahead, sir.
A people laden with iniquity.
A people laden with iniquity. Iniquity is another word for sin. Like we're full of sin, man. Full of wicked thoughts. Full of doing everything wrong. Full of going against God. Full of not even considering. Listen, the Lord said, I raised up children and I nourished them. And now they don't even want to know who I am. Now they don't even want to know me. They're a nation full of sin. They do everything what you told them not to do. Go ahead.
A seed of evildoers.
A what?
A seed of evildoers.
And we seeds of evildoers, man. Whereas in the last verse, the Lord said he had delight in our fathers and their seed after them. And guess what now? From that delight, we've just become a seed of evildoers, man. We're evildoers now, man. All we do is evil. Go ahead.
Children that are corrupters, they have forsaken the Lord. And
listen, the Lord raised us, and then now we forsook him. Meaning what? We turned our back on him, man. We don't do what he requires of us. It's like your parents raising you, and then you just turn your back on them. It's like your parents raise you your whole life saying, don't do this, don't do this. They raise you, they nourish you, they do everything right for you, man. And then you just go and do that. You just go and do the thing that they told you not to do. Listen, growing up, my dad always used to say to me, don't ever get no white women, man. And damn, listen, I'll never get no white woman, man.
That's right.
And it's against God to get a white woman. And it was against the law in my father's house to have a white woman, man. Even with my dad, you get kicked out for them things, man. you get kicked out for those things, man. Go ahead.
They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. And we provoked the Lord to anger.
Just imagine you raised up kids, you nourished them. So you raised them up, you nourished them, you take care of them, and they disregard everything that you said. You're going to be angry about it, man. The Lord was angry about it. We provoked the Lord to anger. Go ahead.
They are gone away backwards.
And we've gone away backwards, meaning what? What does it mean to go backwards? You go back to doing things that you're not supposed to do, man. We've gone backwards, man. Listen, at one stage we was keeping laws. Like now, in life, we've gone backwards. There was one stage as a nation, we weren't eating pork, we weren't killing one another, we weren't doing this, we weren't doing that. Our sisters wasn't being whores. But now we've just gone backwards, man. Now we're doing all of those things. We've gone backwards in life. The Lord nourished us and raised us and told us not to do those things. But we've decided to do them, man, which means we're going backwards in life. Go ahead.
Why should ye be stricken anymore?
It says, why should you be stricken anymore? And we're being stricken right now, man. Ain't you tired of waking up, having to go to a 9 to 5 for the white man? Him taxing you down 18, is it 21% now? It's 21%, isn't it? Him taxing you 21%. Him ruling over you. Police shooting your loved ones in the street, throwing your loved ones in jail. Why should you be stricken anymore, man? Why? It's like, do we like getting beat? Why must we be beat down more, man? Go ahead, sir.
He will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick.
The more we're stricken, the worse it seems like the worse we get, man. Usually, you punish someone so they do better. You beat your kids so they behave. But you beat us, what do we do? Just be worse, man. Keep beating us and we just keep doing 10 times worse than we was already doing. Go ahead.
And the whole heart faints.
So the whole head is sick, man, and the whole heart faint, meaning the whole nation, man. Our nation has become down so low, man. Is there anyone that?
Verse 6.
Yeah, okay.
From the sole of the foot even unto the head.
It says from the sole of the foot even unto the head. from the very least of us, man, to the top of us, man, the whole body of us, man. As a nation, all of us is sick, man, from the sole of the foot even unto the head. Especially you Christians, damn. Who's the head of your church? Your pastor, he's sick, man. He's the head from the sole of the foot, the lowest person in there. They all sick, man. As a nation, we become sick, you know why? Because, you know, we just go against God. We do whatever seems right in our own eyes. We no longer keep his law, statutes, and commandments. Give me Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4.
Jeremiah 17 and 4. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage.
And this is us, man. We discontinued from our heritage. What's our heritage, man? Who we are? We discontinued from it. We no longer know who we are because we rejected knowledge, man. We didn't even want to know. We rejected it. We turned away from the wisdom the Lord gave us, the laws he gave us. And now we've discontinued from our heritage. So now what are we now? We're no longer Israelite. We're just Afro-Caribbean. What's a hairstyle got to do with your nationality, man? Now in America, they're just African-American. 2 different nationalities, man. Two different continents, man. African-American. Listen, it don't make no sense. Read that again from the top.
And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage.
And we've discontinued from our heritage, man. When you apply for jobs, it doesn't even say Israel. There's no box that says Israelite, man. It says what? Afro-Caribbean. What is it? Afro-Caribbean. Caribbean. And that's what I'm saying, man. We've discontinued from it. Most people don't know. Most people don't even know that the Israelites. We just think but this is what we think. One day we was in Africa naked, swinging from trees, and the white man took us from there, brought us to the Caribbean. We came to England, and now he's gave us a better life because he's got all the technology, he's got the internet. We was back there. We was back there with nothing. Because also there's I brought out in one lecture how white people believe that them bringing us here from where we was gave us a better life. That's what they teach, that they brought us over here and then now we have a better life, which makes you think being in slavery is not that bad, man. The only reason you would think you're having a better life here is because, like the Bible said, you don't know your master's crib, man, and you don't consider, you don't know that you had a land of milk and honey, man. You don't know your master's crib. You don't know your master's house, man. You don't know that we had the best of everything in that land. So obviously now you just think, oh yeah, well, I was swinging from a tree naked. Like you just think he was like Tarzan. You just think he was like Tarzan, making animal noises, couldn't talk, was uncivilized. That's how the white man makes out that we was. Couldn't talk, uncivilized, was just naked, covered in leaves. You see how the paint pictures of Adam and Eve with just leaves covering them. They make out like that we had an outfit covered in leaves, swinging from trees like Tarzan, couldn't talk, eating slugs and slime and everything. They make out that was us. But really, we had a beautiful land, man. The land's so beautiful. They're in there now, man. Trying to say that they're us. That's how beautiful it was. They know that our heritage was so beautiful that they use it. And the people who it belongs to, like the Bible says, doeth not even consider, man. We don't even consider. Go ahead, too.
That I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
And now, we're serving our enemies in a land which we know not. We're in a land which we know not, man. We ain't supposed to be here dealing with all this freezing cold weather, getting the flu every week. Listen, if you're in England right now, you know that it's no place for a black man, man. Listen, I'll be at work freezing, and these white people are turning the heater off, man. They're saying, are the white people, you know, like that as well?
Yeah, it's hustler.
Yeah. There's that one damn Edomite slave that puts the fan on, the cold fan. I'm thinking it's -2 degrees outside, and he puts the fan on. And listen, this is how I know this land right here. It's a land that I'm not supposed to know. I'm not supposed to be here, man. I know my master's crib, and I know that I'm meant to be somewhere where it's nice and hot. I can wear sandals in the sand. Not here, man. Half freezing to death, shivering, getting up in the morning, cars all iced up. Listen, this is no life, man. If you like this, if you like all this cold weather and whatnot, you're probably a white man to lucky. But as for me, nah, I can't do it. Go ahead.
For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger,
And the Lord said, "You've kindled a fire in His anger, man." Meaning what you've done is basically pissed Him off, man. So lucky. Go ahead.
which shall burn forever.
Which shall burn forever. Now, when it says burn forever, it don't literally mean forever. It's just basically saying for a long time, man. It's a figurative of speech. It's how black people speak. When black people say, "Yo, as long as you live, don't speak." You see how black people say, "As long as you live, don't speak to me." They don't literally mean forever, forever. They just mean, "Yo, me and you ain't gonna be pally for a long time." It don't literally mean forever. But when the white man reads this, he'll be like, "Oh well, the fire's not burning no more." He thinks it's a little fire and so forth. This is just how black people talk, man. When we say forever, it means like if I say, "Yo, I've been waiting on him forever." It don't literally mean forever. It just means I've been waiting on him for longer than I plan to. That's all it means. Obviously, this is hip talk, man. This is how black people talk. Go ahead, sir.
Verse 5, thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man.
It says, "Cursed be the man that trusteth in man." So the Lord said, "I'll put you in a land, and you're going to serve your enemies." And then I'm saying, "Cursed be the man that trusteth in man." Guess what? You're in a strange land, trusting these enemies that the Lord put over you, man. It says, "Cursed be the man that trusteth in man." You trust in the white man. You trust in your pastor. You trust this white man to save you from your situation, man. Like in America, they got what? The government shut down. Listen, the Bible says, "Cursed be the man that trusteth in man." Listen, you trusted in that white man. Now the government shut down. I heard they're stopping the food stamps. You damned now because you cursed because you trusted in man, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was researching that. There was a documentary about it, and one black guy who runs a arm, he was upset. Like he said that for every bit of wheat I get, I'll get such and such. He's now the president, and I'm not receiving it, and he just trusted him, man, a black farmer, and basically Donald Trump hasn't even like let him. He hasn't let him have the amount of money that he's meant to receive, and he's shot like I voted for him, and I'm meant to get this for every like so every estimation of wheat. He ain't got none of it yet.
Exactly, and that's what happens when you trust him, especially the white man. Damn. The Bible said, "I'll put you in the land, and your enemies are going to rule over you. And cursed is the man that trusteth him, man." That should let you know you ain't supposed to be trusting your enemies in this land, man. You ain't supposed to be trusting your pastor. You ain't supposed to be trusting a man that don't serve God. When it says cursed is a man that trusteth in man, it's talking a man that don't serve God. Obviously, you can follow godly men that do serve God in the UPK. You can follow us, but you're trusting a man that don't serve God, that don't know God. That says, "Cursed be the man that trusteth in man." You're following a man that you believe can get you out of the situation that you're in when he can't, man. You're trusting a man that hates your guts. You're trusting the same man that shoots you dead in the street. You're trusting a man that that's the biggest murderer on the face of the planet. Go ahead.
And make of flesh his arm.
And make of what?
And make of flesh his arm.
And you make of flesh your arm, man. Now, what does the Bible say? Like us right here, we spiritual men. Now, the man that you're trusting, he's just flesh. What does that mean? He leans to his own understanding. He does whatever he wants. Like when the Bible talks about the flesh wars against the spirit, a flesh is a carnal man. You're making a carnal man your arm. You're making your Christian pastor your arm. That's a carnal man right there, man. And that's who you're trusting in. So obviously, whatever you got planned is gonna fail. Because you're trusting in a carnal man. You're making him your arm, man. Go ahead.
And whose heart departed from the Lord.
And listen, once you trust in that man, it shows that your heart's departed from the Lord. Once you're scared because of this government shutdown and running to the white man, what about my food stamps? And what about this? What about Brexit? What's going to happen when we leave Brexit? We're screwed when we leave Brexit. Your heart's departed from the Lord, man. Listen, who gives a damn about Brexit? Brexit ain't never been. The European Union ain't never benefited us anyway. When they talk about Great Britain, they ain't talking about they ain't talking about the areas that you live. You see, when they're talking about Great Britain, they're not talking about South London. They're not talking about Brixton. They're not talking about Handsworth, Aston, Newtown. When they're talking about Great Britain, they ain't talking about your rat-infested area and your area where the binmen don't come out for weeks. Listen, your area, yeah, it's hidden, man. They don't care about you. You're not part of this Great Britain. When they talk about Great Britain, they talk about where the Queen lives. They talk about Westminster. They're talking about the chapel. They're talking about Buckingham Palace. They're talking about Four Oaks. They're talking about Little Aston. Listen, you got Aston, which is in the ghetto, and you got a nice area where the houses start at like 1.2 million in Little Aston. That's the Great Britain that they show, man. When they talk about Great Britain, they're not talking about where you live. They're not talking about where you live with all the trash, where the binmen don't come for a month, where all the stabbings take part, where all the shootings take part. They're not talking about that. And the proof is, I and the brothers of the House of Parliament, yeah, they're talking about the House of Parliament. They're not talking about your house in the ghetto. They're talking about the House of Parliament and them things, man. They're talking about where they hold all the meetings. That's the Great Britain that they're talking about. They ain't talking about where you live. They ain't talking about where all the stabbings go down in the ghetto. And this is why, if you pay attention, this is what you'll realize. In these, you see all these nice posh areas where people go to sell drugs. They get locked up quicker than the drug dealers in the ghetto. Have you noticed? Because the white man doesn't want you selling drugs in his Great Britain, man. But you're free to sell drugs in the Handsworth, Aston, Newtown. You have a longer run there because they know. They don't care about them areas. But as soon as you're in a nice area like Four Oaks, your face don't fit, police will swoop on you, man. Because you ain't part of their Great Britain. You ain't part of them talking about leaving Brexit. It's nothing to do with you. Listen, you're just a slave, man. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
That's heavy, like, off back what you said. If you go to Scotland and you sell drugs, they get you quickly.
See?
They don't mess around. They don't want it. They don't want you bringing that
to their Great Britain. And they don't want you ruining their Great Britain. What you have to realize is, when in Britain, there's two sides to it, man. You got the white man side, the nice side at the top, living good, making all this money, and then you got the other side, that people being stabbed and doesn't make the news. Listen, it don't make the news, it just makes the Birmingham Mail, the internet one. Just imagine black people been getting killed before Facebook was around, man. These murders been taking place before Facebook existed, but you just don't know because obviously no one cares about it. So there's two sides to it. While Great Britain, why all the white man was calling this Great Britain and how Great Britain is, bringing in all the tobacco and the sugar cane and the cotton all the way from the Caribbean to make Britain great. You was in Jamaica being a slave, man. You was picking all that cotton, cutting down all that tobacco. You built up Britain. They made Great Britain great, setting up the British Bank, setting up loan companies. So you know when you take out a loan, the reason they can give you a loan is because all that money came off the back of slavery, man. They had all that money off the back of slavery in order to be able to say, all right, then I can loan you this money and you pay me back this much. That's how they set up all these loan companies off the back of your slavery, man. Off the back of you working like a dog. And then guess what? There's a white man on my slavery. He must have said to the East Indian man, he used to work in a bank. He goes, there was a black man that came in the bank. He had good credit, but he didn't like the look of him. So he looked at him through the thing. The man was asking for a loan. He said he pressed the button. He just pressed the random button and said, I can't give you the loan. See, and this is what white people do, man. They decide if they can give you a loan. They decide how much interest they're going to put on it. They decide if they're going to rent you a room. Listen, Great Britain's great for them. It's not great for you because you're struggling to pay your rent. You're in a moldy house. You're in a council house where everything's broken down in there. Listen, you're in a strange land and you're making flesh your arm. But that's a bit off topic. Let me go back on topic. Read on. Where was you at?
Jeremiah 17:5.
Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 6. For he shall be like the heath in the desert,
go ahead.
and shall not see when the good of
That's us, man. Go ahead.
but he shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness,
Go ahead.
in a salt land and not inhabited.
Go ahead.
7. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord.
See, blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, man. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and don't vote to stay in Brexit. Don't vote to leave Brexit. Did you know that they had the you seen the thing in it where they showed you where the percentages of the votes came from, and all these white areas voted to leave Brexit, man. They don't want the Polish so-called taking their jobs. They don't want the East Indians taking their doctors' jobs. They don't want no one taking their jobs, man. They voted to leave Brexit. Us, we want to make flesh our arm, and we want to vote to stay in Brexit, man. We want to vote to stay in there. Most black people don't even know about Brexit because obviously our life here is hard anyway, man. Whether we join Brexit or leave Brexit, police is still going to shoot us. We're still going to get thrown in jail. We're still going to be a slave. It don't make no difference to us. We're still going to be a slave in this place, man. Whether we stay in Brexit, whether we leave Brexit, it don't make a difference, man. The only thing that can get us out of this place is Christ returning and putting the white men in chains, man. That's what I'm voting for. Forget Brexit. I'm voting for Christ to come and put this white man in chains, man. Who cares about Brexit, whether we stay or go? Read on, sir.
And whose hope is the Lord?
And listen, that's what we need to do, put our hope in the Lord. Now we're in a sticky situation, man. In the land that ain't ours. Our glory's been turned into shame. We turned our back on our God. It's time for us to put our trust in the Lord, man. Turn to our God, and so we can get the hell out of this place. That's it, and that give me Matthew chapter 5 and verse 13. Listen, the only thing about Brexit that would probably affect us is if you want to take a vacation, you need a visa now, innit? Is that what they're going to say? Listen, only if you want to take a nice holiday and relax on the beach, you just need a visa. But a visa's like, what, £12, £13, if that? Yeah. So really, it don't affect you. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. Really, nothing else matters to us. All these deals are saying, oh, if we leave Brexit, we won't be able to get blah, 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 blah. Listen, we're so broke. We ain't buying them things anyway. People saying, oh, if we leave Brexit, we're not going to be able to get German cars. Listen, black man, we get German cars once they're 10 years old, and we can't even afford a showroom German car, man. That's right. You show me a black man that's had a car fresh out the showroom and can pay cash for it. If they do get it, this is what they do. They're paying £350 a month for it, and they barely can keep up with the payments. They barely can keep up with the payments, man. So really, none of this stuff affects us. We're trying to join the white man, and we're trying to cry with him, man. Listen, we don't care about Brexit, man. It don't affect us one bit.
That's right.
Go ahead, sir.
What's that? Matthew 5 and
13.
I'm trying 13.
Yeah, 13.
13. Matthew 5, 13. Ye are the souls of the earth.
Ye are the what?
Are the souls of the earth.
We're the salt of the earth, man. What does salt do to things? Salt gives it flavor, man. Salt gives it flavor. We're the salt of the earth. We give this earth flavor. The way we walk, the way we talk, the way we dress, our entertainment, man. Listen, we're the best musicians, the best artists. We're the salt of the earth. Listen, when they say like even our reggae artists, man, who have we got? We got them, Barry Salmon, we got K Putten, we got Sizzler, we got all these great reggae artists. Who does the white man have? UB40, man. He has UB40, man. Yeah, you heard them. UB40, which is the worstest reggae I've ever heard, man. Listen, we've got some real underground artists, man. If I name some of them, you probably wouldn't even know, man. Some real artists. Go ahead.
I was saying, regardless of us being the salt of the earth, there was a documentary, and when the West Indians came over, they liked how we looked so much. Like that's why in like the Romford, Essex, all of them, that part of the UK, they always dressed so well, and it came from us. They see now like, man, dressed so well. I mean, back then people like more like the suits and tie. How did Jamaicans dress so well? It's made them dress that way even till now, where the people that live in that part, the London part, Essex, Romford, they like to dress really good. I know that originated from Jamaicans and West Indians that got there in the 50s and the 60s.
See, what I'm saying, man, with the salt of the earth, people see us. And listen, you see sports activities, they know we're gonna win anyway. Now, and also with boxing as well, you know what white people do because they know they can't beat us. They wait for Bernard Hopkins to be like 50 years old, man.
Right.
They wait for Roy Jones to be 50 years old, man. They wait for Anderson Silva to be 40 years old. They wait for all of us to be so old, and then guess what? The biggest win on their record is, Chris Weidman beat Anderson Silva. This guy beat Roy Jones. When you're looking at us in our prime, man, we was knocking them out left, right, and center, man. Listen, and this is why they hate Mayweather so much, because Mayweather's 50-0. And I guarantee you, they're going to keep messing with his money until he comes back and fights and probably lose to a white man or something in it, just so they can say, yeah, look, a white man beat Mayweather. That's how they like to do it, because they know us in our prime, man, with the salt of the earth. Couldn't nobody touch Roy Jones in this prime? You seen Roy Jones in this prime, man, when he used to put his hands behind his back and Usain Bolt breaking the record and the white man happy to get 5th place. Listen, they know we're better than them. Even our artists, Tupac, Biggie selling all these records. What do they do now? Get rid of them and say, do all these polls and say, Eminem's the greatest rapper of all time. Let me tell you about these polls. Listen, only white people vote on them. Black people ain't got the time to vote on them, man.
That's right.
You see, when you're reading those things, it's just all stupid white people saying Eminem's the greatest rapper of all. Listen, Eminem is garbage, man. The reason why people say Eminem's good is because he's white and they know that white men can't rap. So when they come across one that they think can rap, they say it's good, but Eminem's garbage. Go ahead.
No, that doesn't make no sense. Reason being is people play Biggie and Pac now.
Exactly.
No one's playing Eminem's best album. What's it called?
Exactly.
The Marshall Mathers
LP.
LP. Ain't nobody playing that. So
exactly.
That speaks for itself.
Exactly. People saying, Eminem's one of the greatest. You had some rappers saying they'd never want to battle Eminem. Listen, Eminem is the corniest rapper ever, man. He's garbage. His films are garbage. 8 Mile. Listen, he's just a little white. He's the white boy that would just be in your class that you slap her. Listen, you have a bad day. He's the white boy that you just slap around when when you've had a bad day and you just need someone to slap. It would have been Eminem, man. Eminem could never rap like Biggie or Tupac. Listen, they be selling records till this day. People talk about them till this day. Eminem's just a corniest white boy. Also, we got the best singers, man. Alicia Keys, Beyonce. Alicia Keys is her sister, right? Yeah, Alicia Keys, Beyonce. Who else have we got? We got so much. We got the best singers, the best rappers, the best sports artists. Like, you tell me something we ain't got the best of, man. Listen, the only thing white people can do is row boats, man. Because obviously they used to drive the slave ships, man. That's why they're good at it, man. Because they used to taking people from their land on slave ships. We got everybody, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Ye are the salt of the earth.
Brother said Eminem did this thing called like, Eminem did this thing on that song. Man, Jay-Z outshined him on that song. Maybe I'm being biased, I don't know, but go ahead.
But if the salt have lost its ava, wherewith shall it be altered?
When it says if the salt has lost its savor, wherein shall it be salted, man? Listen, we've lost our savor, man. I read that again for me.
Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his ava, wherewith shall it be
and we're the salt of the earth, man, but we've lost our savor. We've lost everything, man. Listen, we meant to be the salt of this earth. We meant to be righteous and whatnot, but now we want to be the opposite, man. Go ahead, sir.
It is thenceforth good for nothing.
And it seems like now, this lifestyle that we live in, all this salt's good for nothing, man. All this flavor is good for nothing, man. If we're just gonna, kill one another, do whatever, do everything wrong towards one another, treat each other like garbage, forget who we are, not know who we are, it's good for nothing, man. Go ahead.
But to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men.
That's us, man. It's like we're trodden under the foot of men now. Because we was the salt of the earth, and it seems like we lost our savor. Listen, the Lord made us great, but it seems like we don't want to be great. We don't want to. Listen, Usain Bolt can run in what, 9.58 seconds. Just imagine if he was in the truth, what he could do, man. Just imagine that. Listen, what's his name? What's that basketball player's name? LeBron James, man, can throw a ball from all the way up the pitch and get it in that little hoop. Just imagine what he could do if he was in the truth. Beyonce can make all these songs, have all these followers and people that listen to her and be a voice. Just imagine if she was using that in the truth, man. But instead, what's she doing with it? Using all that flavor to make our sisters be whores. It's a shame, man. Just imagine what we could do, man. There's so much we could do. From there, give me Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Just imagine if the ability that the Lord gave us, we done something in the truth with it. Be a great nation, man.
That's right.
But now what do we want to do? Entertain white people. Want to sing and dance all day. Want to be a coon all day, man. That's what we want to do with it. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art an holy people.
We're meant to be a holy people. The word holy means separate. We're meant to be a separate people, man. The Lord made us a holy people. The word holy means separate, means the Lord separated us from everybody else. When the Lord made us, He made us better than everybody else, man. Separated us, made us better, gave us everything. Go ahead.
Unto the Lord thy God.
And the Lord severed us, man, kept us to Him. Go ahead.
The Lord thy God have chosen thee.
And guess what? The Lord chose us. Now, when you choose something, you be like, I want that one. You see, like when you choose something, you look and you're like, I want that one, man. Like you see when you choose a pair of trainers, the ones you like the most, you choose like, I want that one, man. The Lord chose us, man. He chosen thee. He chose us. He didn't choose the white man. Go ahead.
To be a special people.
The Lord chose us to be a special people. And now we ain't behaving like a special people. We're behaving like a sinful people, man. The Lord chose us to be special and righteous and so forth. Go ahead.
Unto Himself.
Unto what?
Unto Himself.
He chose us to be a special people unto Himself. The Lord chose. You see, like if you choose a pair of trainers for yourself, if there's 10 pairs of trainers there and you're like, if someone says, which one do you want? And you say, them ones become yours, man. The Lord chose us to become His. The Lord chose us to be His. He made us to be His. Go ahead.
Unto Himself, above all people.
And the Lord chose us to be above all people. Chose us to be better than all people. Chose us to be better than chose us to be better than Donald Trump. Chose us to be better than Theresa May. Chose us to be better than so-called Prince Philip that drives his car and then flips it over and nearly crashes it. Listen, how fast was he going, man? It's an armored car. How do you flip an armored car, man? It's an armored car that he flipped. The Lord chose us to be better than them, man. The Lord chose us to be better than the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. The Lord chose us to be better than all these crime white families. He chose us to be better than them and above them. Go ahead.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
No, just some of them.
All people that are upon the face of the earth.
So you're meant to be above all people. You're meant to be better than them in every single way. Every way possible, you're supposed to be better than them. He chose us to be above all people that are upon the face of the earth. But obviously, we want to be below them, man. We want to make flesh our arm and join the white man and vote to stay in Brexit and get upset about it and be like, oh, we're not in Brexit no more. We want to do that, man. The Lord chose us to be above all people. Listen, what's going on with the UK? Listen, I don't care. Whatever the white man's doing, that's his business. We need to take care of our business. We've got our own business, man, which is our nation. Let these lot do whatever they want. When they talk about the European Union, yeah, about the EU, the European Union, there's no seat in there for you. Where's your seat in there? There ain't no seat in there for you. It's all for white people.
That's right.
They don't care about you. Was there any more on that? Or is that it?
That was
it. Yeah, give me Ezekiel chapter 5 and verse 5. There's no seat in there for you. Like your vote don't count, man. You think the white man cares what your vote is? You think the white man cares what certain names do we have? Something. You think the white man cares when he sees Tyrone Beckford's vote? Listen, you think the white man cares when he sees Craig what's the back name? Craig Hamilton's vote? You think the white man cares when he sees that? Your vote don't mean nothing, man. He sees your name and don't even give you a job. There's an article as well, man. It says about black sounding surnames, no, black sounding first names. They're less likely to give you an interview to go to Oxford University. So people think, oh yeah, these black people are just dumb and they don't make it to the top unis. Listen, they see your name. People think, oh, black people are dumb and just can't get a job. They see your name and they don't call you for an interview, man. If you don't believe me, you can look it up. It said black sounding names are less likely to get interviews. It says black sounding names are usually, they imagine them as larger and more violent because of black sounding names, which is another stereotype they put on us, man. So sometimes when you're applying for jobs, it's not that you ain't got the qualifications, it's just that obviously your name's Shaniqua or something. No one's going to employ a Shaniqua. No one's going to employ a Tyrone or a Dre. No one's going to employ a Dre, a Andre. Obviously, that's all it is, man. It's not because you ain't got the ability. It's just that the white man's the devil and you're trying to make flesh your arm. And he decides if he wants to give you a job or not. And he ain't going to choose you. I mean, if he sees a name like Edward, if he sees a name like Edward and then he sees a name like Tyrone, which one does he think's more likely to do the job? He's going to go with Edward, man. If he sees a name which is Emily or Emma, and then he sees a name Shaniqua or Sharkeisha, he ain't going to give Sharkeisha. Sharkeisha ain't getting an interview. Sharkeisha ain't getting a job. Sharkeisha ain't getting an interview for Oxford University. He's going to give it to Emma, man. Because Emma sounds like a posh little white girl. Lives at home with mommy and daddy. She's white, well-spoken. And then they look at Shaniqua as she speaks ghetto. She speaks ghetto, nappy hair, this, that. That's how they look at it. And then this is why they don't call you for interviews, man, and so forth. Because the white man's the devil. Once you understand that, you understand every job interview you went to, the reason you didn't get the job is because the white man's the devil. That's all it is. It's not because you can't do it.
Right.
Go ahead.
Ezekiel 5:5. Thus saith the Lord God, this Jerusalem I have set in the midst of the nations and countries.
And the Lord set us in the midst, man. Our nation, the Lord set us as a people in the midst. Meaning these people are supposed to look at us, see our wisdom in the sight of the nations, how wise we are, see how we do everything right, see how this is an honorable people, see how this is a great people. That's the things they're supposed to see. Go ahead.
That are round about her, and she changed my judgment into wickedness.
And she what?
She changed my judgment into wickedness.
So what the Lord's saying here is, damn, I put you in the midst of all the nations so they can see how wise you are. And then you've just let me down, man. You've just done wickedness and brought shame, man. You've just brought shame on my name, man. These people are meant to say, yo, look how wise these people are with a God so near unto them. And you've just brought shame on the Most High's name, man, by everything that you do, all the wrongs that we do. Go ahead.
More than the Asians.
More than the what?
More than the Asians.
So the Lord set us there to be wise, do righteousness. Guess what we've done? We've done more evil. We've become wickeder than the nations, man. We're doing more evil than they was doing. These times we was meant to be here. We was meant to be here. And we was meant to be great, man. We was meant to do the right thing. But obviously we didn't do the right thing. So we've just done evil in the nations. Go ahead.
And my statues more than the countries that are round about her.
And what?
And my statues more than the countries that are round about her.
And we've done more evil than the nations that is round about us, man. Listen, these East Indians have sex with cows, man. And we seem to be doing worse than them now, man. These East Indians is a nasty people. Don't wash, don't shower. These Africans don't use deodorant. These Africans step in the room and almost kill everybody with their armpits in the room, man. These Africans try and murder everybody in the room with their armpits, man. And we've even done worse than them. Africans is a nation of people that don't wash, don't brush their teeth, stick their head in cows' behinds and everything, man. And guess what? We've done wickeder than them. Them people there that put the massive hoops in their ears and put rings around their neck to make their neck longer, and their skins all dry and ashy. And Africans are disgusting, man. And we've become worse than them. We've become worse than them, man. And people that are ashy, you look at them, they just look dry. They just look dry, man. All over their face is dry. Everything about them is dry. They put rings on their neck, put that plate in their lip, and we've become worse than them. Go ahead.
For they have refused my judgments and my statutes.
And we've refused the Lord's judgments and his statutes. We've turned our back, refused them, refused to do them. That's what we've done. It's time to start refusing the Most High's judgments and his statutes, man. It's time we be righteous and come to serve God. Go ahead.
And they have not walked in them.
And we ain't walked in them. We ain't walked in the Lord's ways. We need to start though. Because we refused and turned our back on the Lord. And now we've become what? Worse than these damn Africans, man. Worse than these East Indians. Worse than these Arabs, man. These Arabs, damn, they're so stupid. This is what they do. They ride a camel and they also eat camels, man. How are you going to eat your transport, man? They're dopey. And we've become dumber than them. Go ahead.
Verse 7.
The anyone that was...
no.
Yeah. Give me Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 21.
Right, the book of Jeremiah 3 and verse 21. A voice was heard upon the high places, weeping and supplications of the children of Israel, for they have perverted their way.
But they have what?
They have perverted their way.
We pervert our ways, man. We've gone the wrong way. Go ahead. I was going to say something.
Yeah,
right, go ahead.
It's heavy because it's saying that someone is eating out for us, meaning the anger that the Lord has got for us. Someone is crying for that, like someone's gonna be balling with all that stuff.
Listen, we've become messed up, man.
Okay. And they have forgotten the Lord their God. And
we forgot the Lord, man. We don't know our owner or our master's crib, like it says in the book of Isaiah. We've forgotten the Lord our God. We've forsaken him. We don't care what he says. We do anything we want, man. We do whatever's right in our own eyes. That's what we do. Go ahead.
Verse 22, return ye backsliding children.
And there you go, man. The Lord's giving you a chance to return. The Lord's giving you a chance to repent, man, and return. The Lord's giving you a chance to come back. He says, return to me, O backsliding children. Listen, the Lord could not give you a chance to come back, but he's giving you a chance to come back. Now, if the Lord's giving you a chance to come back, man. Listen, when your woman kicks you out of the house and gives you a chance to go back, you go back straight away, man. The Lord's calling you back, come back straight away, man. You do it for your woman when she kicks you out of the house. You return to her. Listen, return to God, man. Same return to God. Go ahead.
And I will heal your backslidings.
And the Lord will heal your backsliding, man. Meaning the Lord will what? Give you transgressions. He will blot it out from under heaven. It will be like it never happened. You return back to your woman, and she don't forget. She don't blot out what you done wrong. She brings up every week, oh, you cheated on me last month. You cheated on me, blah, blah, blah. But listen, the Lord ain't going to bring it up, man. You return to the Lord. The Lord ain't going to bring up what you done wrong, man. He's going to blot it out, and you're going to start off afresh. So that's what we need to do. We need to return to God. That's about it on that, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, give me Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 29. That's what we need to do. Return to God, man. It ain't rocket science. The Lord's giving you a chance to return. The Lord's giving you a chance to come home, man.
Leviticus 18 and verse 29. For whosoever...
Now, this is a time before where You couldn't return, man. This is a time before where you done something wrong, you was cut off. But the Lord's so merciful. He said, return to me, man. The Lord's so merciful. He said, return to me. One stage the Lord said no, but he changed his mind and said, you know what, return to me, man. Come back. This is a stage when you couldn't return. Go ahead.
For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the soul that committeth them shall be cut off from among his people.
There was a time when you broke God's laws, you was cut off from among your people, man. You'd be no longer one of us. You'd be just wandering around in the wilderness on your own, man. You'd see you from afar off. Someone would say, "Who's that?" You'd be like, "Oh, we don't know him." You couldn't come back to us. You'd just be wandering around on your own, man. You'd be cut off from amongst us, man. You'd be cut off from amongst this nation. But now the Lord's saying you can return. The Lord's allowing us to return. So it's only right you return while the door's open, man. Because the door's not going to be open forever. One day the Lord's going to close the door and Christ is going to come, man. The description, it says, what does it say? The bridegroom shall close the door, in it. The bridegroom shall close the door, man. Now the door's open. This is when you want to enter in. Listen, right now in the UPK, rebuilding the ark, man. This is Noah's ark all over again, man. In this day and age, UPK is the ark. Guess what happened with the ark? People that didn't jump on the only 8 people jumped on the ark. People that didn't jump on the ark, they died, man. Now, this is the spiritual ark, the I.S.U.P.K. If you don't jump in the I.S.U.P.K, death's coming your way when Christ returns, man. Same way the people in Noah's time was making merry, eating and drinking, doing whatever they wanted. Then the flood came suddenly and took them away. That's in the Bible, by the way. Same thing's going to happen again, man. People are making merry right now. The ark's right here. And if I was you, I would come onto this ark.
That's right.
I would come onto this ark while the door's open. The door's open, man. The Lord said, return unto me, O backsliding Israel. The Lord's opened the door. The Lord's got the ark for you to jump on. And if you don't want to jump on the ark, the Lord be with you, man. Because the day is coming when the ark door's going to be shut, and then you're going to be trying to jump on the ark like the people was in Noah's time, all drowned. All got took away by a flood. All got took away by a flood. Now, you don't want to be one of those people that get taken away by a flood, man. Obviously, next time it's going to be a fire. You don't want to be one of those people that get taken away. You want to be one of those people that's on the ark. You want to be one of those people that's on the chariots. So get on board while the door's open. I mean, if I was you, I would come on board. I can't force you to come on board. But if I was you, I would come on board. Someone told me, listen, the doors to the ark's open. What did I do? I jumped on board, man. I jumped on board. Now, if you don't want to jump on board, that's up to you, but the door's not going to be open forever, so just keep that in mind, that the door to the ark is open, man. Go ahead.
Verse 30, Therefore, you shall keep mine ordinance.
Therefore, you shall keep my ordinance, man. Back then, if you didn't want to get cut off, you had to keep the Lord's laws. We didn't keep them. We got cut off. The Lord saying we can return. Back then, you would get cut off at wandering on your own. From there, give me Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 11.
Ephesians 2 and 11. Wherefore we remember that ye being in times past Gentiles.
In what?
In times past.
So in times past, we was Gentiles, man. Now, what does it mean when it says we were Gentiles? It's not talking about we was a white man. It's talking about we was following after their customs. We didn't have our culture. Like the Bible says, we discontinued from our heritage. So once we discontinued from our heritage, what did we do? Put on somebody else's heritage, put on somebody else's culture. That's how we became Gentiles. Put on a kufi, put on a Christian cross. That's how we became Gentiles, man. Because we was doing what the Gentiles do. That's what it's talking about. It's not talking about we became like Michael Jackson. You became white. It's not talking about you actually was white like Michael Jackson and all these other artists that changed color. Didn't say it's not talking about we bleach like Vibes Cartel and whatnot. But now Vibes Cartel is gone darker than me again now. So yeah, have you seen how dark he's gone now? Yeah, until it comes back out. So it's not talking about you turned white like Vibes Cartel and then now you're Israelite again because you're in jail. It's not talking about that. It's talking about we took on the heathens' culture. Go ahead.
Gentile in the flesh.
See, and it tells you there, you became Gentiles in the flesh, meaning what? In times past, we were celebrating Christmas, celebrating Easter, celebrating birthdays, eating pork, going to church, wearing the Muslim dress, and so forth. Go ahead. And these Muslims are so gay, wearing that Muslim dress, which is with nothing underneath, which is near enough see-through. Have you seen it? It's so gay. Listen, these Arabs are gay, so lucky. Go ahead.
Who are called uncircumcised by that which is called circumcision.
And we was Gentiles in times past, called uncircumcised, meaning what? These people was considered unclean by back then the so-called Pharisees that thought there wasn't the truth. They was like the circumcision back then. The uncircumcision, the circumcision. One, it just means the clean and unclean. Another words for that, basically. In this context, go ahead.
In the flesh made by hands.
Go ahead.
That at that time ye were without Christ.
And listen, all the wickedness you've done in the past, that's when you was without Christ, man. Which means what? Return back to God. Christ died for us so we could come back. This was the whole point of him dying, so we could come back. This was the whole point of him dying, so that spiritual ark could be sort of for you to jump on board, man. So you can return. All the things you done in the past, when you was a Gentile in times past, that wasn't you, man. All them things you done, you was following after the white man's ways. Now you've come back to your culture, your heritage, and so forth. Go ahead.
Without Christ being aliens.
Alien, it just means stranger, right? Just stranger. We were strangers to the covenant, man. We were strangers to our culture. We were strangers to our laws, strangers to our heritage, because we didn't know it. It didn't exist to us because we didn't know it. Now we know it. You better keep it, man. Go ahead.
From the commonwealth of Israel.
We were strangers from it. Go ahead.
And strangers from the covenant of promise.
And we were strangers from all the covenants because we didn't know them. Go ahead.
Having no hope.
Having what?
Having no hope.
And without Christ, man, and the Most High, we had no hope, man. We had no hope. If Christ didn't die for us to return, guess what? You would have no hope. You would be the white man's bitch forever, Salaki. Excuse my French. That's just exactly how it is. Let me word it. You would be the white man. Let me word it better for anyone online who don't like that word. We would be the white man's slave forever, man. We would be the white man's lapdog forever. That's what we would be. Having no hope, meaning you'd be in this situation forever. You'd be in this situation forever, man. Go ahead.
And without God in the world.
And we was without God, man, in the world. Meaning we was leaning to our own understanding, doing whatever we want. We was without God, man. Go ahead.
Verse 12. That at that time ye were without Christ being. But now in Christ ye who sometimes were afar off are made nigh by the blood of Christ.
And listen, Christ died for us, man. Brought us back to God. Made us close, man. Brought us back. What time we got on there?
It is 8:55.
Let me just get one more precept. Isaiah chapter 52. And then we're going to close out on this one. We was aliens from the covenant, man.
Was it Isaiah 52?
Yeah, and verse 1.
Isaiah 52 and 1. Awake, awake.
This is what we need to do. It says, awake, awake. Now, if someone's telling you to wake up, what does it mean? It means you're asleep, man. Because we've been asleep for too long. The Lord's telling us to awake, awake. Go ahead.
Put on thy strength.
Do what?
Put on thy strength.
The Lord's telling us to put on our strength, man. Put on our strength. Put on our laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Put on our strength. Put on what makes us wise. Put on what keeps us alive, man. Put on what makes us strong. Put on what's good for us, man, which is these laws, statutes, and commandments. Put on our strength. Go ahead.
O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments.
It says, put on thy beautiful garments, meaning what? Put on our own culture, man. Take off that Christian cross. Put on these laws, statutes, and commandments. Take that Christian cross off, man. Take that damn see-through Muslim dress off, man. Take that damn see-through Muslim dress off, man. That damn blows up in the window all the time, man. And that stupid kufi. Take it off, man. Put on your law, statutes, and commandments. Put on your own culture. Put on your own customs, man. That's what we're supposed to do. And with that, that brings us to the end of the class, man. That's the end of the class. With that, we're going to do the prayers and then we're out of here. That's the end of the class.
That was a powerful class. Give it up, Dunbar hand. I'm going to get the announcements. Right, we are the I.S.U.P.K. Started at our 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the heads to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 months, the brother and sister will get permission from the heads to marry tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10 means 10. I.S.U.P.K in the Hebrew, 10% of every any increase the Lord if you give to the Treasury Department, priest fund, free will offering for priest, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations is Purim on Monday, the 18th of February to the 19th. And the address 394 Lodge Road, Birmingham, postcode B18 5PW. So make sure you attend that. Remind all Akim and Aqua to check the bulletin boards in the hallway. And if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and scarves. And with that, we're going to rise and say peace. And we're going to send up the Lord's prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malachovka, Taba'ah, Ratzazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Baratazah, Kawar, Hayah, Bashemayim, Lefenanawa, Lekam, Kau, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawafinawa, Wala'am, Tabai Ainawa, Banasaiwan, Abon, Habashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Lakam, Hamalapa, Waha'ala, Wahafakara, La'aiwalamya, Aman.
In English, our Father,
art
in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be. Praise the Haka, the power. Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Babu Kushar, Nathalanawa, Hakam, Larapa'am, Kal Makalam, Wakal Madawa, Haka, Latahar, Hamatazarayam, Hakam, Lahafiam, Hamafiam, Hakam, Al-Buka'awa, Hatama Allah, Lagarishan, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Tawada, Aman. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, Jesus the power, the power to heal,
heal
all manner of sickness,
all manner of sickness,
and all manner of disease,
and all manner of disease,
the power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to raise the dead,
the power to raise the dead,
the power against unclean
the
spirits,
power against unclean spirits,
to cast them out.
to cast them out.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you. So be. This one is the blessings. Barakah Yahweh.
Barakah Yahweh.
Wa Yahushua. Wa Mayaka'ala. Wa ala hayy. Mataza bi'ah. Ala wap Yohanna. Ha ala wapya. Ha saranya. Ha patazayanya. Ha kaliyaliyam. Wa akwapya. Yahweh. Ba Hashem. Yahushua. The water. Amen.
In the English, bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahushua.
And Yahushua.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels. Commanding General Yohanna.
Generals.
The generals.
The captains.
The captains. The officers.
Troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you. So be.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of
In
Yahushua.
the name of Yahushua.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
To evils.
Send evils.
Curses.
And curses.
And punishment.
And punishment.
And destruction.
And destruction.
And death.
And death.
To the heathen.
To the heathens
That speak against
that
us.
speak against us.
Thy prophets.
Thy prophets.
The teachers.
The teachers.
The princes.
The princes.
The priests.
The priests.
Israelite
The
brothers.
Israelite brothers.
And the schools.
And the schools.
And evils.
Send evils.
And curses.
And curses.
And punishment.
And punishment.
And destruction.
And destruction.
And death.
And death.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose.
And shake loose.
The pockets.
The pockets.
Of the rich of Israel.
Of the rich of
They
Israel.
refuse to give.
They refuse to give.
To the school.
To the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches.
To enter into thy
To
sanctuary.
enter into thy sanctuary.
And evils.
Send evils.
Curses.
And curses.
And punishment.
And punishment.
And destruction.
And destruction.
And death.
And death.
To the Edomites.
Unto the Edomites.
And the nations.
And the nations.
And the drug dealers.
And the drug dealers.
Court system.
The court system.
Prison system.
The prison system.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the governments of our enemies.
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
Pope.
The
Islam.
Christianity.
Egyptology.
Militia.
Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation.
Asians.
Skinheads.
Skinheads.
Posse
Comitazi.
Gay
The
movement.
gay movement.
The lesbian movement.
The lesbian movement. Spies.
Works of witchcraft.
Workers of witchcraft.
That's the space program.
That's space programs. Army. Navy.
Air Force. Marines. Wall Street. Open up the internet. And the airways. Cable access channels. And the radio channels. Convict the spirit. Of any of thy people. That seek to stop us. And bring swift death. To all the heathen. That stand in the way. Or try to stop us. From broadcasting your word. Throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the terrorists, areas, cause them to go to and fro through the earth and destroy all the terrorists, cause the areas to come against America and destroy them in their strongholds. Let America shake at the hands of the terrorists of the areas. Let Yahushua, Michael, Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and kill all the heathen come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming in the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be. Yes, let's pray to bless Israel, Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahushua, Barakah, Wa Yashu'Allah, Wa Habayah, Sapaya, Barak Rapah, Magad Hagan, the Gordon family, the George family, Shania, Nariah, Tara, Carmel, Zaira, Ayala, Alishai. That's it. All Israel,
Hashem, Yahushai, Tawada, Aman. And what we said was, Lord, in the name of Yahushai, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield those protective those and protect those older ones. In the name of Yahushai, thank you. So be it. So with that, we're gonna give one a courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Al-Madim Shabbat, Al-Madim Barak, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Barak,
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barak.
Yad Yamatah, class dismissed.